Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm very excited to give you all a walk around and tour of one of Ford's most popular vehicles that was once sold here in the US. Today, we'll be taking a look at the 2019 Ford Fusion SEL. The Ford Fusion is one of my favorite Fords to have ever come out from this generation, and this particular generation goes back to 2013. By 2017, as you can tell, this vehicle did get a refresh, which is why it looks the way that it does here. And even in 2025, it still looks pretty modern. With that being said, Ford sold about 150,000 of these a year, which was pretty good. And surprisingly, by 2020, they decided to discontinue this vehicle. But with that being said, it's very cool to check one of these out. And like I said, this is one of my favorite Fords that Ford ever sold. With that being said, this being the SEL trim level, you do get the leather interior, you do get the Sync 3 infotainment system, you do get the power moonroof in this one, as well as a really unique color. With that being said, a huge thank you to Bob Thomas Pre-Owned, which is part of the Thomas Auto Group here in McKinney, Texas, for giving me some time with this one today. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get started. As you can see on the key, the Fusion does come standard with a couple of different functions, and they are as follows: your lock, unlock, remote start, trunk release, and your panic button. To remote start the vehicle, just make sure the vehicle is locked, and double click the remote start function, and that 1.5 liter E-Boost 4-cylinder will start right up. This vehicle will run for 10 minutes, and it will shut right off. But if you want to turn it off before the 10 minutes are up, just go ahead and double click the remote start function again, and it will shut right off from there. Starting off here in the front, as you can see, you have a very nice and classy looking grille. In some instances, it kind of reminds me of what Aston Martin used many years ago, and as you can tell, it kind of gives off that luxury look here in the front. You do have, of course, your standard LED daytime running lights with halogen projector headlamps, and fog lamps are optional on the SEL trim level. Coming around here to the wheels and tires, we're taking a look at a set of Kelly Edge Touring tires on 19-inch wheels. These are 235, 45 are 18s actually, not 19s, all the way around. Coming around to the door, as you can see, this vehicle does come standard with a smart key access system, allowing for easy access to the exterior as well as the interior. By having the key fob in your pocket and come to the door handle, there's a touch sensor inside of here. Put your hand in, and the vehicle will indicate unlocking, allowing you to jump on in. Or if you want to go ahead and close it up, just make sure you close it in. Tap this button here, and the vehicle will indicate locking. The exterior color of this one is finished off in white platinum metallic tricoat with the Ebony ActiveX leather interior. Starting off here in the door panels, you can see you do have some rubber material on top of here, as well as down here, although it's a bit more softer material. You do have this white stitching right here. You're going to have this aluminum and chrome paneling here, which looks pretty nice. You have an aluminum door handle, power locks, 2-person memory seating, your power mirror controls, power windows, your child lock, and then below that you do have some storage area space here and an area where you can have a small cup holder. Along with that smart key access system, the Ford Fusion does come standard with push-button ignition. By having the key fob on you or in the vehicle itself, just simply put your foot on the brake and hit the button to go. Very nice. The Ford Fusion does come standard with a fully leather wrapped rack and pinion power steering wheel with controls here on the left as well as on the right sides, as well as paddle shifters on the left as well as on the right as well. To the left, you're going to have 2 main control panels that correspond with the instrument cluster. So you're going to have this one, which corresponds with this left screen, and you have this one, which corresponds with that right screen. And then right down there below, you're going to have your cruise control settings and all that here on the left. To the right, you're going to have your hands-free Bluetooth, telephone, volume, and everything else on this side. Now, coming up here to the gauge cluster, we are taking a look at two digital screens, one on the left and one on the right, and then you have your speedometer right in the middle. Below that speedometer is going to be your gear selector. To the left of your tachometer, as you can see there, is going to show this vehicle's current odometer reading, and to the right of that is going to show your compass, exterior temperature, as well as the vehicle, as well as the current time. With that being said, cycling through on the left side, we are taking a look at our tachometer as well as our fuel range, tire pressure monitoring system, current speed, distance to empty. And then if you go a little further, you're going to have your display mode, trip 1 and trip 2 information, fuel economy, driver assist, settings. And to the right, you have three main things here, such as your entertainment, navigation, and your phone. Now, with that being said, come over here, we're taking a look at the older Sync system. This is Sync 3, but the more updated version that came out around 2017. And as you can see, it does look really, really good in this car. Now, the Sync system has aged really well in this case because this is a 2019 model. As you can tell, it does look really, really good, and it certainly does a pretty good job. Now, with that being said, this is going to be a little bit different versus what I would typically do in the Sync 4s, because typically in those, I would take, a short period of time to go through that. But with that said, we're going to actually take some time and talk about the Sync 3 system. So the Sync 3 system, in a sense, came out around 2013. It was rather good for what it was. However, it was a bit lacking by the time, other manufacturers and competitors started implementing Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So what Ford decided to do is that around 2017, they updated the Sync 3 system in every model that Ford sold at the time. And of course, that gave you access to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto compatibility. So this car does indeed have that, as you can tell. Now, as you can see, what we're taking a look at here on the screen, we are seeing essentially three different areas here. So you have navigation here, what's playing on the radio on top of there, and then below is going to be for your Bluetooth connectivity for your phone. On top of the screen there, you're going to see your home page, exterior temperature, or not the exterior temperature, your climate control temperature for the front and front passenger, as well as the exterior temperature and the current time, as you can see there. Now, with that said, you're going to have your submenus down here. Let's say we want to go and see our navigation system. You just tap it, and it will load the map for you. And as you can see, although, the newer one looks a lot better, this one here still looks really good as well. And it's very, very easy to use. Of course, you can search for destinations and all that down here. That's where your destination is. You have a compass, where you are, and then your menu. Your zoom in functions are going to be right here on the right, as you can see. And overall, the map quality looks pretty good. But let's go back to audio. It's going to show you what's playing on the radio, AM, FM, or Sirius XM radio. You have your sources there, which is what that is for. That's, of course, going to show you what category you're listening to. You have channel guide, direct tune, replay, and presets. Of course, you're going to have all your different preset stations here, which are very nice. And as you can see, you can put a favorite. You can put this song as your favorite if you want to by just hitting that little star button right there. Now, with that being said, of course, coming down here is going to be, like I said, your submenus. So this is audio. Let's go to your climate. Climate's going to allow you to control your fan speed, fan positioning, as well as the temperature for the driver and the front passenger, as you can see there. Overall, very nice to see. Come over to phone. You can add a phone or pair a phone to the vehicle, as you can see, or you can pair the phone. You can pair the phone that's already connected to the vehicle. We just looked at navigation. Coming to apps, you're going to have things such as connected device, find mobile apps, and SiriusXM Travel Link. And then settings is going to be a comprehensive list of things that you can see what comes with the vehicle, and it's not as extensive as what you'll find in the Sync 4, but it's still pretty informational. You have sound, clock, Bluetooth, phone, SiriusXM, navigation, mobile apps, as well as Ford Pass Connect, which of course is a mobile thing that you'll have to get through your phone, and it's pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it. Now, with that being said, let's say we want to go and check out our sound settings. It'll allow you to adjust your treble, mid-range, and bass, as well as your balance and fade, as well as your speed compensated volume and occupancy mode. Let's say you want to go and adjust our clock, for example. You can change it to AM or PM. You can do the clock format. You can do the auto time zone update and all that stuff there. Let's say you also want to, for example, just for the sake of it, your Sirius XM. That's going to give you set category for Seek and all that stuff. So overall, just a very well put together system. Although this is the updated version of Sync 3, you're not going to have a lot of comprehensive stuff to deal with like what you would do on Sync 4, but still it does look pretty good from this setup here. So overall, that was a look here at the infotainment system inside of the 2019 Ford Fusion. Come below that, you do have your volume knob and tuning knobs. You have your seat track right here. This, of course, is going to allow you to play and pause whatever it is that you're listening to. Below that, you do have your dual zone climate controls. You do have heated seats for the front and front passenger. And your climate control stuff is going to be right here in the middle. Below that, you're going to have your little storage area here where you can put your phone to charge. There's no wireless charger here. You'd have to upgrade, I believe, to a titanium to get that. However, you do have 2 USB ports and then an outlet right next to that. Coming down here, as you can see, you have 2 cup holders. You do have your electronic parking brake, and you do have a 10-speed automatic transmission. And when you put it into reverse, you do get a backup camera with guidance lines, and they do adjust as you turn the wheel. The camera quality is decent in this vehicle, so I'm not going to give it too much criticism about that. And then you do have a zoom-in view there, so it'll allow you to zoom in and kind of see what's going on at the bottom. Overall, not too bad. You do have your auto stop start function here. Glove compartment with a decent amount of storage space inside. Now, talking about these seats here, this is not going to be the most comfortable seats that you can buy in the Fusion at the time. You had the titanium, you even had the Sport, which were 2 of the more top-of-the-line trim levels that Ford sold the Fusion in from 2017 to 2020. But for an SEL, this is not bad. This is essentially what you get in the SE trim levels, so the step below this one. But again, it's genuine leather on top of here. Same thing going all the way down, although you do have this kind of ruffled material. It does look nice, you know, kind of adds a bit of a uniqueness to the interior, and it is pretty comfortable, so at least it gives you that at the end of the day. And then come over here to your glove box. It is dampened, and you have a decent amount of storage space inside. You do have your mirror up here, followed by controls for your visor, your headlights for the doors, and stuff like that. And then you do have a sunglass holder. You have your 3 garage home link, a visor with a mirror inside, and lights. And to the left, as you can see, you do have your headlight controls, your headlight controls here, as well as your gauge dimmer switches on both sides. But for this vehicle being 5 years old, 6 years old now, it still is pretty impressive to see that at one time Ford sold this car and they sold it at a pretty good clip. But with that said, let's go ahead and continue our tour of the 2019 Ford Fusion SEL. That'll let you know that the key has left detection of the vehicle. Coming into the back, materials do follow through, as you can see. Same genuine leather material. You do have the stitching coming across here in the middle and going all the way down, which is nice. You do have 2 seat pockets, one here and one on the other side. You do have 2 rear vents back here, as well as an outlet down here. Follow that up with a pad armrest with 2 cup holders, and that's it there. I thought this was like a little storage area that you can put small items in, but it's not. Just like all Ford vehicles, this one here does come standard with Ford's Easy Fuel capless fuel filler, making it easy to fill up at the gas station. And an illustration of how to do that using a traditional gas tank. The Ford Fusion in certain trim levels did come standard with LED taillights. This one here being the SEL, you are going to be getting the standard halogens. You do have your parking sensors back here, Ford badge right there, Fusion badge right there, followed by the SEL and each of these badges here on the right. As you can see, as you come into the cargo area here, it's very plentiful. You have more than enough room to put stuff in, of course. And the best part about it is that you have 16 cubic feet of space to work with. So overall, you do have a really good amount of room to work with in here. As you can see, you have your carpet mats in here. And then underneath here, you do have your spare tire. You have body colored mirrors with LED turn signals on them. There we go. Under the hood of this vehicle, we're taking a look at Ford's 1.5 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder. It produces 181 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque. Of course, you could get the Fusion and other engines, such as the 2-liter, which they offered at one point, the 2.5-liter, and then, of course, you can get a 2.7-liter V6, which was reserved specifically for the Sport and Titanium trims. With that being said, you'll be getting well over 30 mpg in this vehicle. This one here is front-wheel drive, and of course, it's going to be through that 10-speed automatic transmission. All right, guys, so back in the Ford Fusion, and it does feel pretty nice to say that I can finally check this one off my list. I've always wanted to do a review on the Ford Fusion, as it was one of my favorite Fords that Ford sold, particularly the second generation here, which ran, you know, pretty much over about 10 years at this point. It ran from, I believe, 2013 to 2020, with this vehicle getting a refresh in 2016 for the 2017 model year. But for this being an SEL trim level, it's pretty good. You know, you are getting a lot of creature comforts in here, although you can get cooled seats, you could get, you know, a more powerful engine and stuff of that nature. But needless to say, you know, at the time, you know, the Fusion was a pretty decent seller, and well, Ford had to make the decision to discontinue this vehicle after the 2020 model year. But with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this walk around and tour of the 2019 Ford Fusion SEL, finished off here in white platinum metallic tri-coat with the onyx black leather interior. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.